It definitely felt bigger then. It always seemed like there wasn't much here. There are tinier places out there. You guys are lucky to live in decent-sized cities. He quietly nodded along. He shrugged. It definitely felt bigger then, yeah. I remember like going back to places I saw as a kid and being like, wow, this is a lot smaller than I thought. There was a time when Sunset Bird had felt huge. It seemed as endless as the ocean. There was always some street you hadn't wandered down, something new for the tourist. But now, you had realized it was just a pond in this big, big world. Seeing the indefinite end only reinforced this. How was the boundary that proved your hometown could be walked out of with ease? I guess this means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into nowhere land. We're not the only one. Terry, there's 4 of us. Terry scrunched up her face, not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke. She decided to ignore it. It stings having to go all the way back. Yeah, but it's not like there's anything out that direction. And we did keep going forward. It'd be an even longer trip home. We stared off into the stretch of road as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go out any further. Can we take a break before we turn around? We've been walking for a while and someone's finished my drink. Right on cue, Terry loudly sucked her air from the straw. It was so good. Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained unrepentant. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the side before heading back to the car. It didn't take long to finish the rest of the food and drinks. Everyone gathered up the trash and stuffed it into bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed on the grass, keeping accounts of all the cars that drove past. It was not a high number. 14. The newest passing car drove into town from somewhere outside, but as the vehicles came by, it slowed down and you watched as it ultimately rolled to a complete stop. The black car parked by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look, but then the tinted window rolled down and the driver peered out. As soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him. No one else you knew presented themselves so distinctively. Oh, it's that guy. What is his name? Baxter. Hey, neighbors. I don't know why I just did that. I forgot what he sounded like. It's kind of similar to that, right? Cove also jolted recognition. He pasted on a cordial smile and waved politely. Afterwards, he put his mouth back over the straw of his long, empty drink, as if trying to act cool. You waved at him. Hi. You just wondered what he was doing here. You wished he hadn't stopped the chat. You smiled and were excited to see him. You waved at him. He leaned forward and tried to get a better look. His hands were loose on his steering wheel, and he seemed rather relaxed to have just pulled over on the side of the road. You waved and he nodded in acknowledgement. And you thought about the odd picture this made. A fancy black car pulled over to talk to a group of teens, mostly still in beachwear. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture pointing towards Baxter, and a light bulb went off for Terry.
All right.
Ah, that's the new person in the condo, the B-man, right? Yeah, Baxter.
Oh.
I wasn't sure if I had ever actually see him. Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Terry was quite the opposite. Incredible. This is perfect. Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, all full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted imaginary dirt off her clothes. She sent a searching look to you and Cove, to which Cove shrugged. Miranda nodded and with clenched fists hesitantly followed Terry. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through the window. She blasted through her introductions, with Miranda putting in a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He still clearly had no intention of going over. I'd encourage Cove to come. Come on, let's go on and see him. Cove pouted. His cheeks flared out in a childish puff. I don't want to. I don't know what to say.
Fine.
You can go. I'll just wait until he's gone. You really should come. You can do it. Do you want to get to be the only person who doesn't go see him? Well, why can't you stay here with me instead? He sighed. He was definitely going to be difficult about this. Some days, he really was that same grouchy 8-year-old you met all those years ago. You stay with Cove. Do you really hate him that much?
No.
No, I don't hate him. I get weird around him. I know his forwardness bothers you, but think of him like Terry. She's super friendly and loves to chat with new people. She's doing it right now. Terry doesn't hit on me. Terry doesn't hit on you. That's what he's even doing. Hector says serious things when I don't think he's actually very serious. That's what bothers me. It'll be alright. He tried to do less of that with you, and it will be alright. With an unnecessary whiny groan, he relented. Fine, let's go. Slowly progress forward and was made, until you arrived at the driver's side car window. Baxter smiled welcomely. Hello. Okay. Cove greeted him mildly, his expression cautious. Howdy, Baxter. What am I, a cowboy? Baxter gestured to Miranda and Terry. I just rented this car for my stay here and was coming back from a bit of sightseeing when I spotted your group. Then these two were kindly introducing themselves. Yep, it's only polite speaking of polite. Baxter is giving us a ride, I was asking him to. What? Baxter shrugged guiltily, seeing Cove's dramatic reaction. The offer is open. And we're taking it. Okay. You were just happy to get a ride. You were kind of annoyed that Terry did this. You felt uncomfortable to be getting a ride from Baxter. You were just happy to get a ride. Yeah. Regardless of anything else, you didn't have to walk back. That's what counted, and you were grateful to Terry for arranging it. Already, plan made. Let's hop in. Yo, he got the gamer pillow on his seat. You excitedly opened the passenger side door and buckled yourself in. I took the passenger. The car was pristine, and you were right near the new car-scented air freshener. Baxter had the air conditioner on cold, but low, so it was pleasantly cool inside. A nice relief from the summer sun. You had been baking in all day. Your friends clambered on in the back. It definitely seemed the slightest bit squished back there.
Does that sound alright?
Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable, and if someone could point me in the right direction, we can be on our way. Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined their journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end into the parking lot. Baxter nodded from up in the driver's seat and pulled back into the rear. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. Woo! Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously. He smiled. Yeah, he clapped as well. You nudged Baxter in a friendly way. You were relieved you had made it. Yeah, I nudged Baxter in a friendly way. Leaned over the divider and gave Baxter a light-hearted push on the shoulder. He hadn't been expecting it, but quickly laughed and smiled at you. The celebration seemed to amuse him. We've arrived. That was easy. Terry flung open her door and climbed out. Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked Baxter with varying degrees of enthusiasm. Baxter himself got out too. Everyone congregated again in front of Baxter's and Cove's car. Cove looked at the back of his and frowned. He finally discovered the wash me you put on it. Huh. I wonder who did that. You snickered along with Miranda, who realized you'd been caught. It's a mystery. Right. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easily with a charming grin. You're a pal. Oh, you're too kind. It was no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all this summer if it suits you. You're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need for another ride. And that goes for everyone here. I have a car. Terry busted into laughter, and Miranda fidgeted. She did not know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt of the head. He says, I'd be happy to help again, but that's the only reason I offered. If you don't need it, you can pass on it. I kind of want it just because, like, I think he's a cool dude, but, like, I'm never that forward. But yeah, I'll say, can I have your number? I'll do it. When her giggle subsides, Terry put a hand to her chin with brows and furrow. Did I say it? Because I kind of clicked weirdly on that. Oh, I states. No, I missed what? Why did my click have to be so bad? I wish I could go back, but we didn't save, so. I wonder, would that option be available right now? You could valet us somewhere cool. Cove was taken aback. He put a hand on the hood of his car. Were we going back to the neighborhood? Was it Baxter going back to the neighborhood too? Why would we go somewhere else? Because we can? Miranda squirmed nervously and then committed to piping up. We could go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out. You and Co shared a look. The big park was pretty nice. Let's do it. Baxter tapped the side of his face and thought.
It's doable.
He glanced at Cove and then switched focus to you.
Well,
we have two cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home. But if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. You decided to go back to the neighborhood with Cove. You wanted to continue the hangout session at the park. Yeah, we should continue it. I think it's a big deal. You weren't ready to tag out yet. You came to the decision to turn to Cove. Let's go to the park. Alright, park time it is. He smiled a little, Terry cheered, and Miranda nodded happily. We felt like you made a good decision.
Yeah!
To the car again! Which car? There are multiple. He watched to see if Cove or Baxter had an answer. Cove sighed and ran a hand through his hair. He tapped on his car hood nervously.
I guess.
We can go in Baxter's, I guess. It'll be less of a pain than bringing both. We're all going to the same place. Are you okay with that, Baxter? Certainly. I meant what I said. You need a lift? I can give it. Neither you nor Terry brought up any objection, and so the gang climbed back into Baxter's nice ride. This time Baxter offered to turn on some music. After all, it would be a little bit of a drive to the park. Play what you normally would. Don't mind us. Can we see what's on the radio? I'd rather not have it. Can we see what's on the radio? We can. Baxter pressed a button on the dash and pop music started blaring. He carefully turned the volume dial down so it was low enough to talk over. He reached over to the switch the station, but then he noticed Terry was already rocking out. He dropped his hand and placed it back on the steering wheel. I love this song.
Me too.
He smiled at the girls and then started checking his mirror with the music taken care of. He put the car into drive and started driving to the park. The parking lot was practically empty, but you noticed that he was careful anyways. It took a while to arrive. By the time you were there, the sky was golden with the orange streaks of sunset. Everyone got out of the car and started to stroll along on one of the paths. You walked by the basketball court and some picnic tables taking in the sights. Ooh, basketball court. I've never really been to a park like this before. Miranda seemed amazingly content, the location helping her relax in the company. She led the way, sometimes stopping here or there to point something out. Baxter turned to her and nodded along.
Not bad.
I've never been here, but I definitely see the appeal. Man, this is Randy's stomping grounds. She's been coming here forever. Seriously, Miranda, have you ever had a birthday party that wasn't here? You've missed out, Baxter, because every year she's a blown-out party at the park. Imagine balloons everywhere. Miranda looked down and suddenly shy again with the attention on her. She let out an awkward laugh. Yep, every year. The group followed Miranda along to one of the picnic tables. She took a seat and Terry slid in beside her. He spent the evening chatting amongst each other. Everyone got to know Baxter a little better, although you could tell Cove and him still hadn't fully clicked. At one point, Miranda found an abandoned soccer ball and started tossing it around. To me! Miranda threw the ball to her. Terry caught it with a smile. Think fast. She chucked it at Baxter, who had enough time to squeak it. It bounced off his chest, and he stared at it dazed. He blinked as if he needed time to process what exactly had happened, but then grinned dangerously. He rushed after the ball, and rather than throwing it back, he surprised Terry and everyone else by lobbing the ball high into the air. He bent her neck back to watch the ascent and an inevitable decline. Baxter hooked it with his foot and launched it up again. There were oohs and ahs from Terry and Miranda. Baxter gave them a very proper bow. When it finally fell to the ground for real, Cove was the one who picked it up. He was impressed and he wanted in. With that, everyone was drawn into the game. It was unspoken that whoever did the fanciest trick won. Most of the gang was not particularly practiced with throwing a ball, so not many of the tricks were actually good. However, there was a lot of laughter, and you got to see Miranda pull off a round-off where she threw the ball with her feet, so that was cool. The sunset eventually darkened into the night, and the streetlights turned on. Your group's chosen picnic table laid in a bubble of light. The occasional bug cast a shadow as they flew by. Oh, whoops, did I skip anything there? No, we're good. It's a little strange being here so late on a normal night. Usually only happens if there was a party or an important game, or a fireworks show. Fireworks? Her yell started Baxter, who was throwing the ball nonchalantly from hand to hand. He missed catching it and it sailed silently back to the ground. He looked at Terry for her loud outbursts. I just remember there's gonna be a fireworks show tonight. It's in the city. At everyone's questioning looks, she huffed and tried to explain further. It's some celebration for the opening of something. I don't remember what. I don't think we could get into actual events anyways. But we should still be able to see the show if we get close. You can't keep explosions in the sky away from the public. Cove raised an eyebrow and jumped his fingers on the table below him. You want to change locations again? Wasn't the last 2 times enough? Terry rolled her eyes and then shook her head to her. It was obvious. Don't be a wet blanket, Cove. What about you, Z, Randy, Baxter? Don't you want to see fireworks? It's fireworks, we gotta go. Cove's right, that's too much. He didn't say anything. It's fireworks, we gotta go. I guess they are fireworks. Alright, whatever. What's one more scene change? Yush, I knew this was a good idea. In turn, 4 sets of eyes looked to Baxter, and as the driver, his answer made far broke the planet. He chuckled softly. And for a penny and for a pound, I'll go.
Honestly.
And genuinely, there's nothing better to occupy my time tonight. We better hurry or we might miss it. Cove rolled his eyes but laughed. Everyone headed back to the car yet again. Terry brought out her phone to navigate to the city, and Baxter stepped on the gas. You were on your way. Baxter drove past buildings aglow in warm yellow light that cut through the navy-black night. One office building had bright LED lights that cycled through a whole rainbow of hues. It was difficult to get through all the traffic on the road, let alone find parking this late at night. Luckily, Miranda had eagle eyes when it came to scooping out a spot. She pointed to a sedan pulling out, and Baxter parked within seconds. Not wanting to miss the show, you all raced down to the waterfront walkway to find a place with a good view. What about here? Cove peered across the rails into the distance and shot her thumbs up. It was relatively quiet, isolated, and you could see skyscrapers. That was a good sign, based on where Terry thought the event was. Yes, this should work just fine. She stopped and tried to catch her breath, her hands on her knees. Miranda leaned against the wall between establishments as she recovered. Cove took a moment to breathe as well. Stretching his spine back, he looked up at the sky in wonder and let out a relieved sigh. Think we've missed anything?
No way.
Not a chance. Nothing's happening, and we can't be so late that we missed everything. Maybe it'll start soon.